I'm Eric Myers.
Goldie House.
I'm Rogan Mason, and we watched the movie Enron, the smartest guys in the room.
This is a video on the questions 6 through 11 on page 40. In the movie The Smartest Guy in the Room, the Maslow experiment was used as an example of an individual's obedience to authority figures. As the control test, they placed an actor as a test subject into a room, and then they placed the real test subject at the desk with the buzzer. Now, as a true test subject is ordered to hit the buzzer when the incorrect response is given, the man's reaction to the response emits a shock to the acting subject, starting with a low voltage and ordered to increase voltage with every wrong response. Even with the squelching of the actor, the button was pushed repeatedly. The real subject, reluctant to continue, still followed through with the instructions as given. Once the experiment started, it was up to the test subject throwing the switch to call it quits. The goal of the experiment was to push one to its extreme. With the Enron scenario, almost everyone under their chain of command, in my opinion, was afraid of losing their own personal credibility and integrity once they had become involved. It was about the individuals being driven by greed who couldn't write a lie to cover the truth because no one wanted to hear it at the top. Many accomplices continued on knowing the status of the company and California's economy. They had no idea of when to stop. The individuals who accept large bonuses knowing the scrutinized means used to obtain it has a lack of professional ethics. In the competence aspect, laws and standards are knowingly being broken. Misleading and false information is being used to manipulate that bonus. Enron has demonstrated that a person will do just about anything they are told to gain that fringe benefit, especially when large amounts of money are at stake. In the end, their drive is greed, always seeking more money. I believe people do weigh their options. The reaction always depends on the individual's personal needs and motivations that moves them through life. In my opinion, Enron sought out specific personality types that were driven by profit and liked making money at the cost of their own personal integrity, self-respect, and did not have a conscience to adhere to.
After watching the movie Enron, the smartest guys in the room, I'm definitely going to change the way I work with other people. I will pay more attention to how my coworkers are working and how my bosses are operating the business. I want to keep an eye on them to make sure they're doing their work in an ethical manner. If I find something that does not seem ethical with the way the business is being operated, then I'll be upfront to that employer or manager and see why it was done the way it was done. I would want to make sure that no one is lying or cheating others upfront to the customers or making false documents to show that the company is making more money than it actually is. I would like to look at the financial statements. For example, I would want to look at them every time they come out to make sure that I am not working for a company that is giving out false information to the public to better themselves. I do not mind a company that is trying to make as big as a profit as it can, but only in an ethical way that is legal and does not ever hurt the current employees or stockholders of the company. Working for a company that I feel like it cheats people and tries to better themselves in an unethical manner would not suit my personal preference. Everyone should know this question. How does Enron make its money? Because Enron never made money for itself. Enron kept making money by having people and companies invest into Enron with fake ideas that actually did not hit the market. They also were using a mark-to-market method that caused the company to earn money that they have not yet earned or that they will never earn. Every employee and manager should know this question about Enron because they should know how their company is making their money. The employees and managers need to make sure that the company they are working for is not using similar ideas or tactics to that of Enron.
Some of the cornerstones of financial accounting are conservatism and recording transactions at historical cost because it safeguards against assets and liabilities being recorded at an unreasonable value. In order to keep financial statements on par with the actual state of the company and from being inflated out of proportion, it is good to be conservative rather than liberal. This keeps figures from being inflated and protects the company. The opposite of this would be an optimistic outlook on earnings, or a more liberal approach, which would overestimate figures. Recording transactions at historical costs rather than speculated costs can keep a company's books straight, while mark-to-market accounting would record speculated profit when the deal is signed, rather than when the project is actually making or losing money. Conservatism and recording transactions at historical costs are both important practices, which keep companies honest and true to their actual profitability. Employees of Enron and Portland General Electric lost billions of dollars when they were encouraged to reinvest their 401ks into the company. Thinking Enron was doing great and would only do better was reason enough for them to believe executives and put their retirement back into the company. This set them up to lose everything when the company crashed. When Enron was beginning to fail, it froze the employees' stock options as the executives cashed in their own shares. After the company went bankrupt, what little was left was distributed to capital investors. Employees only saw $4,500 in severance pay, while Kenneth Lay, Jeffrey Skilling, and several other executives made off with hundreds of millions of dollars.